Let's talk about Canada, the land of maple syrup, politeness, and lately, some serious economic muscle. While America's been distracted by political chaos, Canada has quietly secured 11 new international trade deals. As we built walls, Canada built bridges. Bridges now carrying global goods and influence, bypassing the US. This isn't just a diplomatic win, it's a seismic shift in North American economics. American brands, cars, burgers, you name it, are facing a crisis they never saw coming. The foundations of US corporate dominance are shaking, all because we underestimated our northern neighbor. So buckle up, things are about to get uncomfortably real for some household names. Let's see how Canada's quiet ambition is rewriting the rules. General Motors, once the pride of American industry, a symbol of innovation and economic might, is now flashing a warning sign for the whole country, signaling trouble not just for itself, but for the entire American manufacturing sector. The seamless North American supply chain that once powered Detroit's dominance is now a fragmented, costly mess thanks to new tariffs and trade barriers that have thrown a wrench into decades of cooperation. GM's legendary efficiency is grinding to a halt as parts cross the border with new price tags, delays, and uncertainty at every turn. Meanwhile, Canada's fresh trade deals are opening up new markets for its own auto sector, bypassing the US entirely and giving Canadian companies a crucial edge. Global automakers now see more value in Canadian plants with tariff-free access to Europe and Asia, making Canada a new hub for international car production. GM faces a brutal choice: absorb these rising costs and watch profits shrink, or pass them to consumers and risk losing precious market share as car prices climb higher than ever. The North American car, once a symbol of unity and efficiency, is being dismantled piece by expensive piece as the industry struggles to adapt. Canadian auto workers are gaining options, finding new opportunities and stability in a rapidly changing market, while US factories face uncertainty, layoffs, and the looming threat of closure. The irony? Policies meant to protect American industry are now threatening its biggest players, undermining the very jobs and companies they aim to save. GM is watching as Canada drives off into a more competitive future, leaving American plants struggling to keep pace. The ground is shifting, and Detroit is scrambling to keep up, searching for answers in a landscape that's changing faster than ever. The race isn't just about cars anymore. It's about who controls the road ahead, who sets the pace for the next generation of industry. And right now, Canada's in the fast lane, accelerating toward a future that looks increasingly out of reach for its southern neighbor. Walmart, the undisputed king of low prices and the world's largest retailer, has long been a symbol of American retail dominance. But now, north of the border in Canada, Walmart is facing a new and unexpected reality that's challenging its business model. Tariffs have driven up the cost of American goods in Canada, chipping away at Walmart's legendary price advantage and making everyday essentials more expensive for Canadian families. Now, Canadian shoppers are discovering cheaper alternatives from Europe and Asia, thanks to Canada's new trade agreements that lower import costs for these regions. Walmart's global competitors, who source products from these countries, can now undercut US-sourced goods, putting even more pressure on Walmart Canada to keep prices low and customers happy. To stay competitive, Walmart faces a tough choice: absorb the extra tariff costs and risk shrinking profits, or completely overhaul its supply chain, sourcing more products from Canada or new international trade partners to bypass the tariffs. Every shift away from US suppliers means a direct loss for American manufacturers and farmers who depend on Walmart's massive orders to keep their businesses running. The ripple effect stretches far beyond store shelves, impacting jobs and livelihoods from Canadian supermarkets all the way back to US factories and farms. Walmart isn't just a store, it's a barometer of global trade, reflecting the shifting tides of international commerce. And right now, that barometer is warning of a gathering storm for American producers who are feeling the pressure like never before. The iconic Made in the USA sticker, its journey to Canadian shelves just got a lot more complicated, tangled in red tape and higher costs. The world's biggest retailer is learning a tough lesson. In the unpredictable world of global trade, even giants like Walmart can stumble and lose their footing. Canada's bold new trade strategy is rewriting the rules of retail, opening doors for some and closing them for others. And as a result, American brands are now paying the price, both at the checkout and in the boardroom. The Big Mac, an icon of American culture, is facing a Canadian challenge. McDonald's Canada relies on US suppliers for many ingredients and equipment, but tariffs are driving up costs. Canadian chains like Tim Hortons and A&W, with local supply chains and new international partners, now have a price edge. McDonald's must choose stick with expensive US suppliers or pivot to Canadian and global alternatives. Every switch away from a US supplier is a lost contract for American businesses. The Golden Arches may still stand tall, but their foundation is eroding. In Canada, being an American brand is turning from an asset into a liability. The price of a burger is now about more than taste. It's about global strategy. McDonald's faces a slow, quiet erosion of its US-centric supply chain. The Happy Meal, not so happy for American suppliers anymore. Canada's trade deals are reshaping the fast food landscape, and McDonald's is feeling the heat. Ford, synonymous with Built Ford Tough, is now being tested by a new economic reality. Its North American manufacturing network, once seamless, is now tangled in tariffs and trade barriers. Exporting US-made vehicles to Canada is pricier, while foreign competitors enjoy new trade advantages. Canadian buyers now see better deals on Japanese and Korean cars, thanks to Canada's trade pacts. Ford faces a tough choice: shift production to Canada or risk losing market share. Every truck built in Canada instead of Michigan means fewer American jobs. The F-150 might be tough, but the business environment is fragile. Policies meant to help US manufacturing are now hurting it. Ford's century-old strategy is being dismantled by new trade realities. The road ahead? It's full of potholes for American automakers, and Canada's driving the change. Coca-Cola, America's iconic drink, is losing its fizz in Canada. US bottled Coke now faces tariffs, making it pricier than ever on Canadian shelves. Canada's trade deals open the door for European sodas and juices to compete directly with Coke. To stay competitive, Coca-Cola must shift more bottling and sourcing to Canada and its new trade partners. Every can bottled in Canada instead of the US is a quiet loss for American jobs. The real thing is becoming a little less American, one can at a time. Coke will survive, but its US manufacturing base is shrinking. Canada's trade strategy is uncorking new competition and new opportunities. The beverage aisle is now a global battleground. For American producers, the cost of doing business just went up. The world is drinking up, and the US is left with the tab. Canada's trade deals are changing what's in your glass. Boeing, America's aerospace giant, now finds itself navigating some of the roughest skies in its history as it faces mounting turbulence from Canada's bold new trade strategy. Once the undisputed leader in North American aviation, Boeing is now encountering unexpected headwinds that threaten its dominance. Canada's recent trade deals with the European Union and other global partners are making Airbus a far more attractive option for Canadian airlines, opening doors for European jets to take center stage in Canadian fleets. Political and economic pressure is now tilting the scales, encouraging Canadian carriers to favor European aircraft over their American counterparts and shifting the balance of power in the industry. As a result, major defense and commercial contracts, once almost guaranteed for Boeing, could soon be awarded to European competitors, changing the landscape of aerospace procurement in Canada. Meanwhile, Canada's own aerospace sector, led by Bombardier, is gaining momentum. New global partnerships and innovative technologies are helping Bombardier carve out a larger share of the international market. The high-profile fight over Bombardier's C-Series jet revealed how US tariffs can sometimes backfire, ultimately strengthening Airbus and giving it a strategic foothold in North America. Boeing's long-standing dominance is being chipped away by shifting alliances, smarter trade deals, and a new willingness among Canadian airlines to look beyond traditional partners. International suppliers are increasingly choosing Canada as their North American hub, drawn by its open trade policies and growing reputation as a gateway to global markets. If Boeing fails to adapt to these rapidly changing conditions, it risks losing its competitive edge and possibly its future in a market that is evolving faster than ever before. In today's global aerospace industry, Being the biggest player is no longer enough. Success now depends on being the most reliable and innovative partner for airlines and governments alike. America's reliability as a trade partner is under increasing scrutiny as Canadian businesses and officials weigh their options and reconsider long-standing alliances. The skies above are getting more crowded and competitive, and Boeing's once clear flight path is now filled with uncertainty and new challenges. With every new trade agreement, Canada is rewriting the rules of the game, reshaping the future of aerospace and forcing even the biggest players to rethink their strategies. Levi's jeans, an American icon, are feeling the strain of Canada's trade deals. Canadian retailers can now import cheaper jeans from countries like Vietnam thanks to new agreements. Levi's, tied to US supply chains, faces higher costs and stiffer competition on Canadian shelves. Consumers are choosing between paying a premium for the American brand or saving money on alternatives. To compete, Levi's may have to shift production to countries favored by Canada's trade pacts. Every move away from US manufacturing is a blow to Levi's American identity. The brand that once symbolized American freedom is now adapting to a new global order. Canada's trade strategy is unraveling the old business model, thread by thread. The story of Levi's is the story of America, iconic but under pressure. The seams are fraying and the competition is getting tougher. Canada's deals are stitching together a new textile landscape. For Levi's, the cost of staying American is rising, and Canada is setting the fashion trend. From cars to cola planes to blue jeans, Canada's trade strategy is reshaping North America. While America played defense, Canada built a global network, leaving US brands stuck in a traffic jam of their own making. This isn't a blip, it's a long-term shift with lasting consequences. The magnetic north of economic opportunity is tilting toward Canada. The brands we've discussed are just the beginning. Thousands more will feel the impact. Which American brand is most vulnerable? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe to Global for more on these seismic business shifts. This story is far from over. Stay tuned.